Welcome back to the channel. This is my GoPro Hero 10. I'm sure you probably have a GoPro Hero 10, otherwise why'd you be watching this video? And the main question on everybody's lips is, where's our firmware update that was supposed to arrive yesterday? Well, I've got some good news for you. The firmware update is coming, and it's coming as soon as tomorrow. There's more on that after this. Well, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching these videos. If you find them helpful, by the way, please click the like button and the subscribe button. I don't get paid for making these. These aren't sponsored or endorsed by anybody. So, you know, clicking those buttons helps drive views to the channel and it helps me help you guys. So hopefully if you like these videos and you want to see more of them, click that like button. In the meantime, let's get back to the issue at hand, and that is the GoPro Hero 10 firmware. As you know, when this camera was released, certain things were missing. There was no support for the max lens mod, and it was missing certain frame rates at certain resolutions. Now, GoPro did promise us that these would be addressed in a firmware update that was due on November 16th. That would introduce support for the max lens mod, as well as give us those missing frame rates at certain resolutions. But, as you know, November 16th has come and gone, so where's our firmware update? Well, the answer to that one's kind of simple and, you know, boring. Unfortunately, GoPro had a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to rumors of their camera overheating. By the way, that's a whole different video. I'm not going to get into it, but needless to say, a lot of people are making a fuss over something that's not really a problem. Anyway, yeah, GoPro decided to release firmware version 1.15 to address those issues, to give us a tripod mode and an extended battery mode. Yeah, that seemed great, except the firmware had an issue, and that small issue was that it tended to brick people's cameras. Suddenly people found that their cameras were stuck in an endless cycle of rebooting, and they were honestly thought, like, that's it, this camera is now broken. Now, luckily, a fix for that was released. You could either downgrade to an earlier firmware or downgrade to the GoPro Labs firmware. And the reason I say downgrade is because the GoPro Labs firmware is actually based on the earlier firmware version, which was 1.10. Anyway, that seemed to fix the problem for a few people, and GoPro then had to kind of like fix the problem that they caused, so they released a version of their firmware called 1.16. And what that did was it redressed the whole constant rebooting issue. Unfortunately, that also caused some issues, because one of the things you had to do when you install that firmware was immediately perform a factory reset of your camera. And some people didn't do this, so that basically meant that their camera got stuck in that same power cycle loop. So the fact that GoPro had to release these two firmware versions all of a sudden and then, you know, work on them more, this pushed out the date for the official November 16th firmware release. So if you paid attention to what GoPro were saying in their small little press release bits, that date changed from November 16th to December 16th, which wasn't good for anybody, especially wasn't good for GoPro sales and for their reputation. So a lot of people have complained about this, and GoPro listened to what you had to say. In fact, GoPro said, okay, you know, we'll admit it, our fault, so what we're going to do is we're going to release a beta version of the next firmware. So this beta version will actually have support for the max lens mod, but it won't have those extra frame rates. Also, any issues that GoPro wanted to address, like improved stabilization in low light, that type of thing, that won't be in this firmware. This firmware should only include basically your max lens support, and that's about it really. So that update is going to be released tomorrow. Now, whether or not this will be released through the app is going to be another question, because it's a beta firmware. It may not be available for from your GoPro app. You might have to do a manual update of your camera firmware, in which case that means going to GoPro.com and going to the camera update section and looking for the beta firmware download. So there's a video on my website that actually shows you how to do a manual firmware update of your camera. So if you have any questions, please refer back to that one. In the meantime, hopefully this beta firmware update actually works out quite well and gives us the max lens support that we wanted without any further issues. But that remains to be seen, and we'll see about that tomorrow. So hopefully that little bit of information proved useful, and if you're looking to get the most out of your GoPro Hero 10 and your max lens mod, watch out for that update tomorrow. So, thank you for watching, and as always, please click that like button and click the subscribe button. Hopefully I'll be back with more good news or reviews for you later. Cheerio.